Wednesday show, Purpose, Passion, Power, and this is episode 2. I love to say this, that there is great power in partnerships and there is great power in knowing that you are not alone. So today I am addressing the next lot of questions as promised in the last episode on how to be a great motivational speaker. That what are the characteristics, what are the personality traits of a great motivational speaker? Well, as you would guess it, common sense says that a great motivational speaker, number one, has love for people. He genuinely loves people. He's genuinely kind. He genuinely wants to reach out and help people be in a better place. And he himself is a lovable person. That is the first personality trait. So when somebody tells me, I want to be a motivational speaker, and I say, okay, the first criteria is that you have to love people. You have to be intrinsically driven to help them. Are you that kind of person? Then they say, yes, I want to help people. That's why I want to be a motivational speaker. Then you look closer. Is he kind to his watchman? Does he help his neighbors? Does he help his mother? Does he really stop and help if there is an accident or he goes by? Does he help people in the bus? Is he helping his colleagues? Does he help his wife in the kitchen? And so on. See, help is not a selective thing. I'm saying it is a personality trait. So if you're the kind of person who wants to go and help the world, well, what about your immediate world? Now, how two-faced would it be that the guy goes and says, oh, you should help somebody and I'm purpose-driven to make a difference and so on. And then you ask his watchman, ye saab achhe hain? He's saying, nahi, bahut khadus hain. I mean, that's like not done. Motivational speaker is a straight line. What he says, who he is, and what he does is the same thing. So love for people, genuinely being a lovable person, and a genuine urge, a sincere urge to help is the primary criteria. And it's not difficult because people generally are wired to help each other. I think it would take a very troubled soul to say, I refuse to help. So by that virtue, majority of people qualify to be motivational speakers. Now, the second criteria of being a motivational speaker or a great leader is that the person genuinely wants to be a better person. He wants to be in a better place, and in his attempt or in his trying to reach that, he gathers formulas where he says, hey, if I can get here, so can you. And to make that kind of investment in yourself to be better, I think is a primary criteria. See, a person who wants to be better, he will read books, he will watch videos, he will speak to people, he will do everything that he can to get that formula to be in a better place. Now, even if you did never become a motivational speaker, you'll still become a better person. And if you become a better person as a result of your quest of being a motivational speaker, then your example would be inspiring for others. Then you will truly be honest and a great leader where you practice what you preach, where you have already put into action that you're asking others to take action upon. So to be a better person, year after year, project after project, week after week, if you're driven by that, then you are naturally wired to be a motivational speaker. And like I said, even if you don't take it up as a profession, what an amazing human being you would be to have made concrete and real investments in getting to a better place in life. Now, the third quality of a great motivational speaker is that you have to be the greatest orator alive. You know, the most irritating part for a motivational speaker is to listen to his speech or to her speech back. You know, every time I hear my talk, it's like, oh my God, what is that noise? So there will be this initial hitch where you won't like your voice, but it's all right. You invest in good oration. You know, you should be able to start practicing, take a book and speak for 30 minutes and record it and listen back and keep on increasing that time. You should reach a place where you should be able to talk for 2 hours at a stretch. Now, is that too much to talk? Well, dear, if you're going to land up doing a 1 whole day workshop, how are you going to land up speaking the whole day? That's 1 whole day's content. So you need to give yourself practice to speak continually. regularly for 2 hours to 4 hours. Singers do that kind of riyaz. Ask any great singer and he will tell you he puts in at least 2 to 4 hours of riyaz, because you need to give your vocal cords that kind of strength, that kind of modulation, that kind of pitch modification to sustain when you go and speak to an audience. So start today, start orating, start talking. Now don't be that compulsive talker who never stops. That's another problem with motivational speakers, because they're so used to talking that they never stop. Well, you do this in a controlled environment where you speak into a mic, speak into your phone. It has a voice recorder. Record, just keep your phone like that and read the book. Read for hours, read for at least 2 hours and listen back. Your energy, your pitch should be constant, the way you started and the way you ended. Now invest that kind of time in tuning yourself, in wiring yourself to being a great speaker. Now, like I said in my last episode, don't tell me, oh, I don't have the place and I don't have this. Come on, any excuse you make, you're cutting off your own points of being a motivational speaker. Aren't you going to stand up and tell people, quit making excuses and start taking action? Well, same to you in your practice to be one. When I was starting out, I used to go to the terrace of my building, stand on the water tank and talk. I talked to the skies, talked to the birds, and it was a great feeling. Now they lock the terraces because my niece, who wants to be a motivational speaker, said, Priya, but our terraces are locked. I'm like, okay, find a way, make a key. Help the watchman with the problem that he's having in his life, and maybe in exchange, he will give you talk time on the terrace. Do whatever it takes to get there. Now, the fourth personality trait of a motivational speaker is that he is or she is a great communicator. Now, being a great orator is different from being a great communicator. A communicator is a person who's not afraid of people. He can talk to anybody. Did you know that the greatest fear of public speaking for people is, how will I talk to so many people? It's fear of confronting so many people, who are just sitting there and looking at you and say, yeah, talk. I've got my phone and I can come up with concepts to challenge whatever you're saying. So it's daunting. To be a great communicator, you have to love people. You have to have the ability to reach out to them, to hold their hand, to look into their eyes and communicate your message. So if you're afraid of people, I'm sorry, you're already on a back step. So start today. Any stranger now is your audience. Walk up to any person who even remotely makes eye contact with you or not and go and say hello. The elevator is a great place to start. Instead of counting numbers for the first time on the screen, say hello. Do you live here? Are you visiting? You have to break that barrier of treating people as strangers. If a person is a stranger, you won't be moved to help him. You have to have that connection. So go out and connect with people, even if it is just smiling at somebody. Somebody looked at you, smile. Now that is amazing, which tells him that I'm not afraid of you, and it tells him, hey, this person is approachable. So communicate with people in a public space. When you go, talk to people, go beyond the hello, go beyond one sentence, and then you will find yourself in a place that you will love people. You will talk to the driver, you will talk to the watchman, you will talk to the beggar, you'll have a conversation with him. Take that forward. There should be no strangers in your dictionary. There should only be people who you can connect with and help. I'm the greatest speakers, I'm the greatest leaders, I'm the greatest heroes, the ones who could just reach out to any human being. They were not afraid of people. And how did that come about? That they offered their communication, they offered their pleasantry, they offered their presence to make a difference. And you know what? In an elevator, imagine you're going down with 3 people and one person smiles at you and says hello, is still a better feeling than looking here and there awkwardly. You feel a little better with that interaction. Human connection is powerful. It is so powerful that any connection, any communication is better than none. So when you put yourself in the habit of communicating with people, you take stage, and these are your guys. These are people who you can walk down, shake hands with, and just be happy with. And you know what? When you make that connect, when you communicate, people somehow support you. They don't like to refute and reject people who've made that attempt to give the first smile or to shake the first hand. So go out and make the world your best friend. Now, while there are so many, I'm going to tell you one last trait of a motivational speaker, which I think should be relevant to get you started, is that a motivational speaker has charisma. My God, when the person enters the room, it just lights up. That person's presence fills in. That even if you didn't know who he was, what his name is, what he does, his entry makes you stop and look and say, who is that? And then you ask, yeah, who's that? Yeah, that is charisma. That is personality. Now, where does that come from? Now, charisma is not just about good looks. It's not about your features. It's about your personality. Now, how can you build that? Can you work upon charisma? Can you become more charismatic than you already are? Of course. Invest in your looks, invest in your hairstyle, invest in your dressing, invest in your personality. Hey, go to the gym and work out, because when your posture becomes better, your walk becomes better, your stance becomes better, your confidence goes up. Invest in yourself. Invest in the way you look. Before you step out of the house, look into the mirror and say, okay, all right, could this turn some heads? And like I said, it's not about the features. It's about a concrete investment that you have made in yourself to look not just presentable, but to look outstanding. And it starts with small things. Eat right, don't put on weight, don't get a pot belly and a double chin and so on. Now imagine you should be dressed and you should be looking such that today you will be interviewed by the press, and that interview is going to go worldwide. How would you want to look? How would you want to be perceived? That's the kind of look you want to make an investment in. And of course, your own confidence will shine through. And look, if you have done this all right from the beginning, if you are humble enough, if you have love for people, if you're a great communicator, if you're a great orator, and if you're genuinely interested in being a better person and thus making a better world, your personality will shine through wherever that you go. Even if you just went in a kurta pajama and slippers, it will shine through. All of this collectively formulates charisma, and that is the greatest tool and greatest strength and the greatest punch of a motivational speaker, where his presence speaks louder than the words that he can utter. Then someone wrote in this question that, do I have to be a success first to be a motivational speaker? Well, define success. So if you mean that, do I have to be a financial success? Do I have to have an empire and the car and the beautiful houses and yachts to be a motivational speaker? No. Financial success is not the only criteria of success of being a motivational speaker. Well, can you think of 2 to 3 success stories that you've had in your life? Don't judge. Have you been successful at something? Have you struggled? Have you overcome all odds and obstacles to deliver something? Well, if you have 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 stories like that, well, you are a motivational speaker, because that is the best way to inspire through personal example. Don't worry if you don't have the money to show for it yet, but do you have stories with power? That is going to be the differentiator between somebody who just talks about other people, whereas you inspire people from your life examples. And look, that strikes a deeper chord with people. You see, because there are so many people talking about stories of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and falana and falana, and you know, people sit there and say, okay, it's okay with Steve Jobs and it's okay with Bill Gates, but I don't know if I can really do it. And when you talk about your story, from there to here, just this much journey, it was not a leap like other figures and personalities have made. That sometimes is more relatable and more powerful for that person sitting there who says, hey, this much distance I can surely cover. And that, I think, is a great delivery, because you took the person from where he was and delivered him to a higher place, even if it was just 2 inches higher. That is a change. That is a shift. And when done consistently, that person is going to be on a whole different tangent of a beautiful life. And look, even if you have no interesting personal story to tell, don't you know stories from people you meet? I'll give you an example. I went to my dentist for a root canal, and I had such an amazing conversation with him where he told me that, look, there are 4 kinds of income. I'm not going to tell you that because I'm interviewing him for my next segment, and I'm going to ask him to share that story. Well, if he wasn't coming on my show, I would have told you that. I can stand in an audience and say, you know, yesterday I went for a root canal and my dentist told me point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, and it is aha, that I said, this is brilliant. So what if you are bringing stories of other people into your workshop? It's a success story, you know, and you become a collector of stories, personal stories. For instance, I was riding an Uber one time, and the driver, I started chatting with him because you see, to be a motivational speaker, you have to be a communicator. You have to talk to anybody and everybody. So I was talking to the driver and asked him, "Aap kahan se aaye hain?" So he said he used to work in Varanasi, and his job as a driver was to take dead bodies all the time to the Shamshan Ghat for the cremation. Can you imagine? It is that person's job only to carry dead bodies. And the kind of conversation that I had is going to be in another episode, this story, but I'm just giving you an idea. What he spoke about life, what he spoke about his experiences and with the families who were carrying the bodies was not just outstanding, it gave me shivers. That ride was actually the ride that I needed to get the future, my life, in perspective. And sometimes we need reminders by that stories. So don't sit and beat yourself down, oh, but I have not done anything in life. Well, does not matter. You are the kind of person who wants to get better. And you know what? When you tell me a story that you had with an Uber driver, you are making my next drive potentially enriching, because now I'm going to start looking for stories. If you're telling me common man stories, daily stories, that daily doses of inspiration that you're hunting for, you have set me on a great life. When I go to my dentist, I want to have a conversation with him. When I meet somebody on the plane, I want to have a conversation with him. Isn't that a great shift? So collect success stories, some of yours, some of other people. And while you're at it, keep upgrading yourself, that today or tomorrow you're going to talk about that dream life that you have achieved. And look, when you achieve that, whether or not you're a motivational speaker, please put it down for people to follow, because we need great examples, we need great heroes, we need the truth on how to make it there. And you'll be amazed on how much hope our country has, on how many dreams our country has. Did you know the average age of an Indian today is 27? That's amazing. And while there is so much youth and so much passion and so much energy, direction becomes even more important. And if you have decided to embark on this journey of being a motivational speaker, then you are the path maker for so many people. Collect your stories. Don't undermine the importance of when you got good grades in class by applying strategy 1, 2, and 3. That is a talk millions of Indians and people across the world want to hear. Don't invalidate yourself. That is what you're going to tell others not to do. So start investing, start banking, rattle up your memory to pull out all the successes and keep the journey going. Don't worry about how big or small you may currently be. Be genuine, be honest, be interested in being a better person. Be the first to volunteer to help and be the last one to leave. And you, my friend, you, oh dear one, will be the best motivational speaker in the making. So until next Wednesday, keep the questions coming, and I'm going to be here for 6 more episodes to help you be the best motivational speaker, the best writer, and the best at anything that you choose to be.